Welcome, Fuse Nation, to the 200th show of Sports Fusion. My name is Alex Fuse. Thank you for watching tonight. On tonight's show, we have a huge show tonight, of course, for the 200th show. Phil Perry, who is a writer at CSNNE.com for the New England Patriots. So, Phil, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well, Alex. Congratulations on the 200th show, my man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem, anytime. So I know the Patriots are looking very good this training camp. So how exactly do you think Tommy G is going to be doing come week one of the New England Patriots season?
Yeah, we're all trying to figure out what the quarterback situation is going to look like. And I'll tell you what, to be quite honest with you, lately, Jimmy Garoppolo hasn't really instilled a whole lot of confidence in Patriots fans that have been down at training camp watching these practices play out. And I don't say that because he's been a total disaster. He hasn't been. There have been some good moments where you see him doing the types of things that you would expect a starting NFL quarterback to be able to do. That includes recognizing blitzes and getting the ball out quickly. It includes recognizing matchups and knowing, okay, it would be a good idea to throw it to Rob Gronkowski when he's covered by the third-string safety. Those are things that you'd expect him to do. Some of the other things that Garoppolo hasn't been able to do that we're all spoiled in terms of watching Tom Brady do on a yearly basis is move through his progressions in the receiving game very quickly and finding the open guy when he's supposed to find him. It looks to me like Jimmy Garoppolo still waiting a little bit back in the pocket a little too long, patting the ball a little too long, and waiting for those receivers to come open as opposed to throwing them open. So I think there's still some ground to be covered if you're Jimmy Garoppolo these next few weeks before the regular season gets started.
Yeah, and the Patriots not only have to worry about the quarterback situation, they also have to worry about the injuries. You know, coming into the training camps, they dealt with a few injuries, and I know Edelman came back a few days ago, right?
He did. Edelman was back for the first time yesterday. Wow. He didn't do a whole lot. There was a scrimmage between a team led by Garoppolo and a team led by Brady. He didn't participate in that, but he did go through some drills. And then today was really his first full day back. I would call him a full participant. And his foot, you know, we don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but his foot looks great. I mean, he looks totally confident in terms of planting and cutting off of a foot that has now been surgically repaired on two separate occasions. So that's huge news for the Patriots because it's such a different looking offense when Edelman's on the field as opposed to when he's not. So he was out there today, looked fine, looked fast, cut well. I would say he made the play of the day, Alex. He went up, climbed the ladder, made an acrobatic catch on a ball from Tom Brady that was thrown to the back corner of the end zone. He gets both feet in. He does some toe tapping near the sideline for a touchdown. And as soon as he pops up off the turf, he starts talking trash to anyone he could lay his eyes on. Every single coach that was anywhere within earshot that coaches the defense, so cornerbacks coach, safeties coach, linebackers coach, it didn't matter. He was chirping to all of them. He was talking to cornerbacks that weren't even on the field for the play. He was talking to the cornerback who covered him on the play, Justin Coleman, and said, hey, better luck next time, buddy, in like his most sarcastic voice possible. So Edelman looks pretty good physically. Like I said, don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves because the timetable for a 100% return for a Jones fracture, which is what Edelman had, can take a little bit longer than the timeline he's on right now. Seems to be ahead of schedule, but he looks good physically, and in terms of his competitive spirit, that's certainly there as well.
Yeah, and the other player that is still dealing with an injury, I believe, is Amendola. So do you have an injury update for him?
So he is dealing with an interesting case right now where he has had minor surgery since the end of last season when the Patriots were knocked out of the AFC Championship game by the Broncos. And he's actually been feeling really, really good ever since June, and even a little bit before that. I would go back even until late May. And he's felt really confident in his legs, and he's a guy who's dealt with a lot of injuries over the course of his career. But spent the majority of this offseason working out, you know, resting the proper amount that he needed to rest, but the surgeries weren't major surgeries. And so he's felt good for quite some time right now. I think the fact that he's still on the physically unable to perform list is basically a precautionary measure by the Patriots. If this was the regular season or certainly the playoffs, he would be out there. He would be practicing in full with the rest of his teammates, running around like a wild man, which he always does. He's one of these guys where when you do put him on the field, he can't help himself but to go 100%. We've seen him at Tom Brady charity flag football games where he is trying to break people's ankles, like at the AFC Championship game. So that's just the kind of guy he is, and I think the Patriots are trying to guard against him doing himself any further harm by keeping him off the field for now. I don't think he's all that far off from coming back, but there's really no rush. They would rather have him for the stretch run and for the playoffs than they would for preseason games 1, 2, 3, and 4.
And from what I heard, Chris Hogan is a new star there at the Patriot training camp. So what's been the impression on this new guy that's being used in the offense this upcoming season, and how do you think Chris Hogan will be in the 2016 season?
Yeah, it's funny because every time the Patriots pick up a new offensive weapon, it could be a tight end, it could be a receiver, it could be a running back, a lot of the talk centers around the Patriots playbook and what a daunting task it is to pick up the Patriots playbook. It's an offense that's been designed over the course of Bill Belichick's time here as head coach. So he got here in 2000. Brady got here in 2000. Brady has as much to do with the development of this offense and the growth of the playbook since his arrival here, because obviously if Tom Brady doesn't like it, it's not going to be in there. So this is as complicated and as in-depth an offense as you'll find in the NFL. It's simply because there aren't as many. There is a single head coach in the league who has the kind of tenure that Bill Belichick has and the kind of tenure that Tom Brady has. So it is a challenge. But for Chris Hogan, it really hasn't been. I've talked about this with him a couple of times, and he says, look, it's as hard as you want to make it. If you put in the work, if you can, fall asleep reading that playbook every night like you should be as a new player coming in, it's really not all that bad. And I tell you what, he's not just paying anybody lip service when he says that. He looks like he has been a part of this offense for years. There hasn't been an occasion yet where he's lined up in the wrong spot. Brady or Garoppolo has had to realign him. I can't think of any moments where there's been miscommunication between him and the quarterback in terms of how deep a certain route was supposed to be run or where it was supposed to be broken off. So he looks like he is going to fit into this offense pretty seamlessly. He's a guy who can play inside. He can play outside as well. I think they'll try to use him a little bit like the way they used Brandon LaFell, who was a versatile receiver when he came here from Carolina. He's no longer here. He's now with the Cincinnati Bengals, but he was one of these guys who could play inside, play outside, and be sort of a chain mover. I don't expect him to be necessarily a deep threat for this Patriots team, but he'll work the middle of the field. He'll be a physical presence on the outside. He'll be a good run blocker, which I think gets really underrated by all of us who love to play fantasy football so much, but is really important in this Patriots offense because when those receivers run block, that can sometimes allow a running back to take one to the house. So he's going to be really effective there. And right now, he's actually dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury, so he hasn't been participating in any of the real full contact drills the last few days. But it seems like he's getting closer and closer to 100% health. And he said he's looking forward to hitting some people because the Saints are coming to town starting tomorrow, and they'll be here for 2 joint practices for a preseason game. So he's looking to get into some physical stuff with the Saints while they're here.
Okay, and as we're talking about the offense for the Patriots, who do you see the opening day running back for this New England Patriots team?
So it's interesting, Alex, because it's all going to come down to what the offensive game plan is for that day. And this is always what the Patriots like to do. They always have a few different types of running backs. They have a couple of what they call sub-backs, which you would consider, your third down backs or your pass-catching backs. And then they have a couple of big backs generally. So lately that's been LeGarrette Blount, 6 feet, 250 pounds. And it depends on what the Patriots want to do in terms of who they're going to use. So if they want to try to, get a bunch of defensive backs on the field, or if it's an opposing defense, say it's week 1, right?
Yeah.
And Bruce Arians says, okay, we're going to throw dime looks to the Patriots all day. We want to have 6 defensive backs out on the field at all times because Jimmy Garoppolo, even though he's the backup, he might be able to carve us up with some of these short to intermediate routes. So we're going to have 6 defensive backs on the field at all times. Well, I think in that case, what the Patriots would say is, that's fine with us. You throw out your 6 little guys, and we're going to throw our big back out there, and he's going to run over them. That's just the matchup that they like. We'll put 2 tight ends on the field, and we'll put LeGarrette Blount out there, and he'll run for 100 yards. Now, if the Cardinals decide to go the other way, and they say, well, we're going to just keep 4 defensive backs out there, we're going to throw a bunch of linebackers out there. We have athletic linebackers. We think we can run with their tight ends and their running backs with our linebackers. Then the Patriots will say, okay, that's fine with us. You don't have a single linebacker that can run with Dion Lewis when he's healthy. You don't have a single linebacker who can cover James White coming out of the slot because he's pretty quick. And the Patriots will think and dunk all day with those little subbacks. So it all depends on what the opposing defense is going to do. It all depends on what Josh McDaniels, Bill Belichick wants to do. But there'll be plenty of games where LeGarrette Blount gets treated like a lead back and gets 20 carries. There'll also be plenty of games where LeGarrette Blount gets 1 carry, and all the punches go to Dion Lewis or James White, whoever's the healthier of the two. So that's just what you're looking at. It's what you're looking at basically every year with this Patriots running back situation. When it does come to fantasy, I tell my friends this all the time. People that ask me about fantasy football, it's really hard to trust Patriots running backs, and I think it would be really hard to trust particularly any of their quote-unquote big backs, that being LeGarrette Blount. But if Dion Lewis is healthy and he's out there, I think he could be an incredible safety net for Jimmy Garoppolo for some of those little swing passes out into the flat. And if he's healthy, and it sounds like he's progressing nicely, even though he hasn't practiced in training camp just yet, I could see him being a big-time PPR producer for the Patriots through the early part of the season.
Okay, Phil, I'm going to ask you one more question / prediction before we wrap up this interview. The main topic is Tom Brady getting suspended, and he will not be available for the Patriots the first 4 weeks. So what is your prediction that the Patriots are going to put up record-wise in the first 4 weeks of the season?
I'll tell you what, Alex, I'm sort of on the optimistic side when it comes to what the Patriots will be able to do this first month of the season. I think they have a very real shot at going 3-1, and it's not because I think Jimmy Garoppolo is going to light the world on fire. It's basically based on 2 reasons. Number one, this Patriots defense is going to be very, very good. They were top 10 in terms of yards allowed and points allowed last year. I think it would be a disappointment if they weren't in the top 10 again. I think you could even go so far as to say it would be a disappointment if they didn't improve on where they were last year, even though they lost Chandler Jones, who was a big part of this defense. I think they did well to replace Jones with depth at defensive end. I think they have 2 of the best linebackers in the league. Probably not the best. I think Luke Kuechly is up there solidified as the number 1 guy. But I think you can make an argument for Jamie Collins or Dante Hightower as a pair of the best off-the-ball linebackers in the league. I think Jabal Sheard is going to have a huge year at defensive end. I think Malcolm Butler is only getting better at cornerback. Logan Ryan is a cornerback who had a great season last season, sort of a breakout season for him. He's only going to improve. They have a Pro Bowl caliber safety in Devin McGuire. I mean, they are absolutely loaded on that side of the ball. And so as long as Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't lose games for the Patriots, as long as he doesn't throw them away by throwing interception after interception this first month of the season, they'll be able to win games with their defense. And then the other reason why I think 3-1 is a real possibility is I think the schedule really breaks down pretty nicely for the Patriots. That first game in Arizona, that's going to be a tough one, no doubt about it. Even if Tom Brady was playing, I think that would be a tough one for the Patriots to win. But after that, 3 games at home against the Dolphins, Bills, and Texans, those are very winnable games in my opinion. So I'm saying the Patriots are going to go 3-1 through that first month of the season, and then Tom Brady's going to come back and he's going to want to light the world on fire.
Okay, Phil, I have to agree with you with that. Okay, Phil, I want to say thanks again for coming on this 200th episode of Sports Fusion.
Alex, thanks for having me, man, and congratulations again.
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too.
Okay, Feuzion, you just heard it from Phil Perry, who is a New England Patriots reporter. He had some great things to say about the 2016 Patriots. It definitely looks like a great season ahead for them as well. And Feuzion, I want to say thank you for sticking around with me throughout the 200 episodes of this show. Make sure to go back and watch the whole 199 episodes of Sports Fusion and come back tomorrow at 11:30. I'll be interviewing Adam Rosales, who is a current MLB player for the San Diego Padres. What does he have to say about the current MLB status of the Padres and moving forward in his career? Thank you for watching tonight. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.